Narcissists and other manipulators are masters of deception. One of the ways that they'll deceive you is with the bait and switch trick. This is when they offer you something enticing or a promise of something that you really want, and then they crush your expectations by taking it away or flipping it around in some way. So essentially, the bait and switch technique is a form of bad faith tactics. It's playing dirty. And by now, you've surely noticed that the narcissist in your life was doing these sorts of things to you, or maybe is still doing them. So in this video, I want to talk about some common bait and switch tactics that you'll notice. So what is the bait and switch pattern? It goes something like this. First, there's a promise of something enticing, or there's a seated assumption. They lead you on to believe something. Then they don't deliver and they switch it out on you to something else. And then you're ending up feeling deceived, confused, hurt, shame, anger, and a lot of other things. Now, the very basis of narcissistic abuse is based on the bait and switch tactic. That's what that love bombing devaluation cycle is. Now, it's a cycle of intermittent reinforcement because as the relationship goes on, you'll notice it goes back and forth. It's not just love bombing at the beginning and just devaluation later. But at the beginning, that love bombing is the bait, and then the switch is the devaluation. You'll also notice this in mainstream media. All those TV personalities, what are called talking heads, their job is to seduce and betray. So they'll seduce a guest. You know, we want to talk about your book, we want to promote your book, or we want to talk about this thing you're doing. And then they get you there, and then they don't talk about your book at all. They just want to talk about something really uncomfortable or awful in your life. So a really great example of that, and an example of somebody who handled that really well, was when Pamela Anderson went on The View a few months ago. You can check that out on YouTube. So now I want to give you 6 common bait and switch tactics of the narcissist. This is going to apply to psychopaths, sociopaths, and other manipulators. And each of these will have a bunch of different nuances, but these are basic patterns that you'll notice. The first one is where they extend an invitation only to abuse you. So, for example, maybe they invite you out with a group, and this could be among your narcissistic friends or family members or even someone that you're dating, but then you end up realizing as you go out with them that they only asked you out because they wanted you as the designated driver, or because you have a car and they wanted a car service, or because they simply wanted a court gesture, someone to make fun of and put down as the whole group makes fun of you and you're serving that purpose. So what they did is they preyed upon your desire to belong, to be part of the group, to feel invited. Maybe you got excited that you got invited, so you said yes, and then you got there and found out it was only because they wanted to use you, use some property of yours, something that you have access to, or just to straight up make fun of you and put you down. So don't hang out with people like that. The very first time that happens, that should be the last time you hang out with them if you want to maintain your self-worth. Why do you want to hang out with people like that? Don't do it. Not even if it's your family, if it's the group of friends that you've always grown up with and they've always used you in that way and you get something out of that, it's just not worth it because it's going to crush your self-worth. Number 2 is slave training and gaslighting. This is where they'll tell you, you know, I really love X. Or maybe they'll straight up tell you, that's the covert version. The overt version is they straight up tell you, you should do X for me. Then as soon as you do X, they pretend like they never said that, that didn't happen, or they changed their mind. So what happened? Well, the bait came in and you wanted to please them, you wanted to feel loved and appreciated, so you did that thing that they said they loved. You know, you cooked them that dinner, you got that wine for them, you dressed up in that thing, you know, that they wanted to see you in. And then they switched it and you ended up feeling unworthy. You can't please them, you're not good enough, you're ashamed, you're embarrassed. So stop doing what people say. Stop trying to please other people. When people tell you that they want you to do something or they like something or other, just give a bit of a gray rock example. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I didn't know you were into that. Could be, and just kind of defer that, deflect that. Don't give in to that. After that happens the first time, you realize like that's actually what they do. Don't keep participating in that dynamic. Number 3 is a fake opportunity and exploitation. So they're going to promise you something that you really want, some kind of enticing opportunity, a job prospect, a TV show, a connection with so-and-so, meeting someone else. And then they're going to switch that out. So what they're doing is they're pulling you in because you want whatever they're trying to offer you. And then you find out, actually, they just want a personal, intimate relationship with you. Or they just want to take advantage of something that you have. But usually it's because they want that personal, intimate relationship with you. And they're just going to try to do it in a very backhanded way. So they're going to promise you that TV show, whatever, and they're going to fake setting up some kind of interview. But then in the meanwhile, they just want to meet up and have a coffee. But then when you're not available for that coffee, you realize there's no TV show. So don't lean in too much to what people offer you and promise you. Just expect that what people are saying are just words. Just listen to them. Oh, that's interesting. And you will see, because people will either deliver or they won't. But what you'll notice very quickly is when that switch starts happening, that's when you know that initial promise was just fake to begin with. It was just used to exploit you in some kind of way. And with this one in particular, it's really important that you don't sway with the love bombing. I've talked about this before. The most dangerous part of narcissistic abuse is not the devaluation, it's the love bombing, because that's how they seduce you in. So if you let yourself be seduced by the idea of that job opportunity, that connection with so-and-so who can connect you to so-and-so or whatever, you don't want to lean into that. You want to assume that that's just an empty promise until you see proof otherwise. So know who you are and believe the patterns, not the isolated words or actions. Maintain your boundaries. So even when someone makes you a big promise, make sure that you're keeping your emotional and mental boundaries. You're not wide open or totally available to them because they have something that you want. Be very careful, because that's usually how the narcissist hooks people, is because they have something that you want. Then you're not going to recognize the abuse because you want that thing so bad. So be very careful. That's one of the classic ways that a narcissist will deceive you. Number 4 is when they lead you on and use you. So they lead you on physically or romantically. That could be with words, that could be with some actions, that could be the way a person dresses. That's often the female covert type who will dress very seductively and make it seem like she's going to be available to you, but actually she's just using you. She wants your money, she wants you to buy her drinks, she wants you to pay her rent or give her some kind of free ride in life, but then she's never going to actually give you that physical connection that you're looking for. Men will do this to women too. You could be really interested in this man and he's leading you on physically, romantically, to think that there's a possibility of that in the future. So you become more invested, but then you find out that this guy just calls you to spend 2 hours on the phone with you, dumping all their problems on you, using you like a therapist, but they don't actually want anything more than that. They don't actually want to have a romantic relationship with you. That's just all in your head and based on that bait that they originally dangled in front of you. So this could be where they bait you with that and then they put you in the friend zone, or they bait you with that and then become frigid. Maybe at the very beginning, I've heard from men, they get involved with a narcissistic female and she's very sexually available, very open and available at the beginning. But then as soon as you lock it down, you make a commitment, you start paying for her, whatever, supporting her, now all of a sudden she's frigid, she's going to deny intimacy to you. That will happen with men too, but it tends to be more that female type. So to avoid falling into that pitfall, know what you want and know what your values are. So that's going to stop you from over-investing in someone who's not matching your values, who's using you for something that you have, something that you can offer them. in promising you something that they know that you want, but they're actually never going to give. Number 5, this can work for men and women. It tends to be women, but men can do this in a different way. So the female version is where they'll fake a pregnancy in order to trap you in a relationship. Or maybe they secretly get pregnant. They tell you they're taking birth control, they're actually not. They poke holes in condoms. They do tricks like this to get pregnant and trap you because they want a free ride. They want your money. They want you to provide a house, a car, whatever it is that they want. Now, man can also do this. You might tell him, hey, let's be extra careful right now. I'm in the midpoint of my cycle. I don't want to get pregnant. And then he abuses that. And I can't go into details about that because of the censorship on YouTube. So I'm going to have to censor myself if I want this video to be monetized and not get crushed by the algorithm. But you get the point. So this is all with the intention of trapping you in that relationship, either physically trapping you because they want to have a partner, someone to lean on, or because they're trying to get your resources, your money, your home, your car, whatever that is, to get that free ride from you. Be very careful with this one. Because once you have a baby with a manipulator, you're in it for a long time. And if you didn't see a recent video that I did on when the narcissist uses your kids as pawns, I'll put that link up here for you so you can check that out. And number 6, they'll get close to you to get close to someone that you know. Now, this could be both in a personal or professional way. So in a personal way, you could be at a bar, you could be with some friends, and maybe this person acts like they're trying to get close to you, but actually they're trying to get to your friend. Or you know this person at school, so they act like they want to be buddies with you, but really they're trying to get to your friend, to get their notes, their study help, or maybe it's like a romantic thing that they're interested in. So they're kind of leading you on, but then they actually want to just switch that out and get closer to your friend. Now, this could happen in professional relationships where you know somebody. So somebody tries to get close to you in order to get the contact with the other person. They don't actually care about you. Don't respond to that. Distance yourself from people like that because they're just using you to get to someone else. So these are some of the most common bait and switch tactics that narcissists and other manipulators will use. I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, give it a like. Let me know in the comments below. If there's another bait and switch tactic that I didn't mention, maybe you want to share that in the comments below to help somebody else. I would love to read those. I'm sending you a big hug.